Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well. Today I am here to do my mid-year book freakout tag. I cannot believe that it is this time of the year already. I cannot believe it is July. And to be completely honest with you, I have not read as many books as I was hoping to have read by this point in the year. So the second half of 2021, I really will be gearing it up a lot. This is one of my favorite tags to do because it's a great way to check in the middle of your year to see where you're at with reading. So I'm really excited to be doing this tag. Let's jump right into it. Question 1. What is the best book you have read so far this year? The best book I have read so far this year is quite easily The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I love this book so much. I read it a couple months ago and I still think about it sometimes. I checked it out from the library, but I really want to buy a copy of my own and reread it and annotate it. It's one of those books. This book is about a boy named Zachary Ezra Rollins who is looking through the library one day and he finds this book. And he starts reading it and he finds out that the book is about him. Like, there are scenes from his childhood in this book. So he's obviously very intrigued and he reads the rest of it and he finds out that he is part of this story and he's kind of living this story. It's all very interesting. I truly did not expect to love this book as much as I did because when I read The Night Circus, I liked it and I thought that it was written very beautifully, but I could not connect with the characters. And because I am a very character-driven reader, I did not like it as much. But this book, the characters were just beautiful. I connected with them and I loved being on the journey alongside them, reading about them. It was so amazing. I cannot even put into words. It feels like I'm spewing gibberish right now because I truly cannot explain to you in words my love for this book. This book follows many different characters and many different timelines, but it all ties together really well, and it does not feel disjointed at all, which I loved. And I also loved how the concept of time and fate were tied together in this book. It was so beautiful. I loved it so much. I highly recommend you guys read it. Question 2. What is the best sequel you have read so far this year? And the best sequel that I have read so far this year is quite easily The Son of Neptune by Rick Riordan. This is the second book after The Lost Hero from the Heroes of Olympus series, and this series takes place after the original Percy Jackson series. And in this series, we find out that there is a place called Camp Jupiter, and this camp is also filled with demigods, except these demigods are the children of the Roman aspects of the Greek gods. I don't want to talk about The Son of Neptune too much in case you haven't read the first book, but in The Lost Hero, the first book, Jason Grace shows up to Camp Half-Blood, and he is originally from Camp Jupiter. Except he cannot remember anything about himself, he cannot remember where he's from or who he is, and he tries to figure this out while he is at Camp Half-Blood. I loved both The Lost Hero and The Son of Neptune so much. These books are so easy to get through, they just kind of flow really well, and it is so easy to fall in love with these characters and to get immersed into their adventure. Highly recommend that you read these books if you haven't already as well. Question 3. What is a new release you want to read but you have not yet? These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. I want to read this book so much. This is a Romeo and Juliet retelling that takes place in Shanghai in 1926. This book follows a blood feud between two gangs that leaves the city helpless in the grips of chaos. Juliet Kai is the heir to the Scarlet Gang. Their only rivals are the White Flowers, and Roma is the heir to the White Flowers. Roma is also Juliet's first love and first betrayal. But then gangsters on both sides start showing signs of instability, and Roma and Juliet must work together to figure out what's going on. Sounds super interesting, and I'm super excited to finally read this. Hopefully I can get to it soon. Question 4. What is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? I don't have a most anticipated release for the second half of the year specifically, but I am really looking forward to reading Rule of Wolves finally, which came out earlier this year. This is the second book after King of Scars, and this is kind of like the Nikolai duology. I don't know if a third book is coming out, but I know it's a duology for now. I love Nikolai Lantsov, so when I heard that there was gonna be a duology specifically about him, I was ready. I was ready for it. So when King of Scars was coming out, I pre-ordered it. When Rule of Wolves was coming out, I pre-ordered it. And I liked King of Scars. It wasn't my favorite, but I liked it. And so I am really, really nervous about going into Rule of Wolves because I don't want to be disappointed. I want to love it so much. And I don't know how I feel about the ending of King of Scars, which is why I don't know if I'm ready to just start this book quite yet. I just don't want anything bad to happen to Nikolai, which is why I'm so scared, but I need to start it soon. Moving on, what was your biggest surprise? If Cats Disappeared from the World by Genki Kawamura. I was not expecting to love this book as much as I did, but this was honestly one of the best books I've read so far this year. This book follows a postman who finds out that he is about to die. So he makes a deal with the devil that for every item he makes disappear from the world, the postman will get to live an extra day of life. With each item that disappears, the postman reflects on the life he's lived, his joys and regrets, and the people he's loved and lost. We follow this man's journey through the last days of his life as he figures out what really matters the most to him in his life. It is such a moving story. Honestly, you need to read it. I loved it so much. I read it in a day. I could not put it down. It was so good. Please read it. Next, do you have a new favorite character? Yes. Yes, I do. I love him so much. I think he's so amazing. If he asked me to marry him right this instant, I would say yes. Unless Nikolai Lantsov asks first. I am talking about the one and only Kaladin from the Stormlight Archive. I have only read The Way of Kings so far, but I love Kaladin so much. I hope every book is about him. I can't even say in words why I love him so much, but I just do. Like, he's so humble, but strong, and so amazing. Like, a genius at everything he does, and so strong. I'm gonna stop talking. But Kaladin is one of my new favorite characters. Next, a book that made you cry. I've already talked about this before earlier. If Cats Disappeared from the World. This book made me cry. And I don't mean figurative tears. I mean that actual tears were coming out of my actual eyeballs and streaming down my actual face. Especially those last couple chapters. I love this book so much. It's so moving, so heartbreaking. Please read it. It's so amazing. Please read it. Next, a book that made you happy. The Bromance Book Club by Lyssa K. Adams. I thought this book was so cute and so funny. It was hilarious. This book follows a professional baseball player named Gavin, and he's kind of having relationship problems with his wife. So he gets invited to join this book club filled with men like him who get together and read romance novels to try and figure out how to be good in the romance department. I got through this book very quickly. It was such a fun read and it was very funny at times, very serious at other times. I found that there was a good balance between the two. I really loved this book. I gave it 5 stars and I highly recommend. I don't read that many romance books at all. I think this was literally the first adult romance book I have ever read in my entire life and I really liked it, so highly recommend. Next, what is the most beautiful book you have purchased or received this year? I have purchased a grand total of 3 books this year, which is great because I am trying to spend less money, especially on books, because I'm trying to use the library more. It's literally right next to my house. I can walk to the library and I do whenever I want. So I've only purchased 3 books this year, which is great. The first one was Rule of Wolves, which I pre-ordered. The second is the Brothers Grimm Fairy Tales. I saw this cute little copy at our local bookstore and I had to get it. It is so cute and it has illustrations in it as well. I am very excited to make my way through this. And finally, I also purchased The Child Thief by Brom. This is a Peter Pan retelling, except it's very dark, twisty, and horror-esque. It also has illustrations in it, and I am also very excited to make my way through this. The last question for this tag is, what books do you need to finish before the end of this year? I've already talked about These Violent Delights and The Child Thief, both of which are books that I really want to read before the end of 2021. But there are a couple others as well. Jade City by Fonda Lee, The Miracles of the Namiya General Store by Keigo Higashino, A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison, You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogel, and Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. If you want to know what any of those books are about, I have a video up already called The Top 10 Books I Want to Read in 2021, so you can check it out if you want to. Those are all the questions in the mid-year book freakout tag. Please let me know if you have read any of the books I've mentioned, and please let me know some of your answers to these questions as well. Anyway, my name is Ishi. Thank you so much for spending time with me, and I hope your day is as wonderful as you are.